So this is the I Love Real Estate Success Story Show. And today is Friday. It's 12 o'clock. It's lunchtime. And we are going to explore and have a bit of an insight into another student of Dymphna's story about what she's done and what happened, and some fascinating story about how she got involved with the I Love Real Estate community. Now, for those of you who don't know the I Love Real Estate Success Story Show, that's what it is. It's about looking at different students and having a bit of an insight and kind of getting it like, what's going to motivate you to do things? And the thing we've found is hearing other students, what they've done, it really is insightful, it really is inspirational, and it really just opens a door for you to think that, you know what, I can get out there and do things yourself. Whether it be little, whether it be big, whatever it is, we want to keep that flow going, keep that positivity, keep that success mood going, keep that focus on your goals and where you're headed. So welcome to the show, I Love Real Estate Success Story Show. And today we have Allie. Allie, how are you doing?
I'm good, Michael. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah. I'm awesome. Now, thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking out the time and making the decision to join me. We're going to have a good chat, I think. And we want to have a bit of an insight into your story and your journey in regards to I Love Real Estate. So we should get it going, yeah?
Yes, let's.
Okay, cool. So what I want to know is, and it's always interesting to find out how everyone gets involved with I Love Real Estate. But before that, what were they doing a little bit before? And you have a really very unique story as well. Did you want to give us a little bit of insight about what your life was like before you came into the community?
Yes. So before I came into the community, it was different. It was very different. I'll put it that way. I didn't really have any direction. And what I mean by that is, like, you know, I was happy I had a roof over my head, I had food on the table, I would organize, you know, a couple of holidays a year, and you know, life was good. I'm not complaining.
It was just like a normal life. It was, you were just doing the normal things.
Correct. 9 to 5,
yep.
You know, family, house, picket fence, that sort of thing. That's
yep.
it. Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, just life.
And was that like what you wanted? It was just like, that's what you want?
Yeah, look, at the time I was content, and I guess, you know, that's society, right? Just being content with where you are. And I'm not going to say I didn't have any direction, but, you know, I was happy with what I was doing, Michael.
Yeah, okay. So, Allie, what happened? What happened to your life? Because something changed, didn't it?
Something changed, Michael. Yes. It's going to sound quite, what was that? What did I use the word? Dodgy. But I was walking through the park and I met a gentleman in the park. And from that meeting, my whole world changed. Wow.
So what? Okay, a gentleman. You met a gentleman in the park. Okay, you met a stranger in the park. All right, cool. You need to kind of expand on this. Tell us a little bit more, Allie. Who was this person?
Who was this person? Well, at the beginning, I had no idea who he was, but we got into a conversation, and very quickly I started to realize that this person I'd met, unless there was video cameras and it was kind of like a hidden camera type of show, I had met I'd come across a property multi-millionaire. And he started to share his story with me about how, you know, property investing was the way to go. That's how he's made his money from the age of 19. His first option deal was, you know, purchasing a property that was on the market for $1 million. But he ended up selling it to, you know, giving these people, the vendor, $1.1 million 12 months later. And yes, and I thought, oh, wow. And he started to talk to me, and then 3.5 hours later, basically this gentleman had shared all of his, you know, I guess his gold nuggets with me with respects to structures, property structures, how to set them up, you know, sort of how many millions of dollars he has made through property. He actually owns one of the streets, I guess, in where I am, and
Yep.
you know, so he owns commercial, residential. He's built. There's not really anything he doesn't do when it comes to a property space.
This is pretty interesting. Hey, you're just going for a walk in a park and you run into this chap, and then he basically shares a little bit of his life story when it comes to investing. And it just so happens he is a multimillionaire property investor.
Yes, yes.
So how did you deal with that? Because you're already living a life which you thought was kind of normal. What happened? What happened to you from your did that affect you in some way, or what happened to you?
There was a bit of an explosion, as in, really? Like, who is this guy? Is this for real? Through property? He's managed to, and I said to him, I said, so how much do you work? And he goes, first of all, I've never worked for anyone ever. I've always, he goes, I've built my wealth through property. And he said, and I don't call it work. He goes, because I love what I do. And I just thought, wow. And then at the same time, Michael, my husband, was driving to Sydney because he worked away from home, and he was listening to Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I know through the community, that is one of the books that is mentioned. And so after the meeting, I called my husband and I said, oh my goodness, I've just met this guy. And I started explaining it to him. And he said, have you listened to the Rich Dad, Poor Dad? And I said, no. I said, I'm talking to you about this guy. And he said, babe, I think you've just met the rich dad. And then he said, listen to it. And the whole time I listened to it, and the whole time, Michael, I was like, oh my goodness, this book is coming to life. And I've just met that person in the park. What's going on here? Right? And so he ended up sharing some links with me, because I wasn't sure if what he was saying was true. So he shared some emails with me, and through those emails, Knowledge Source popped up. Right?
As it does. I don't know how John does it. John has a very mysterious way of being able to work his way into your email system and getting in front of you. And sometimes someone clicks on a link, and then suddenly John's sending them emails. So it happens.
That's exactly what happened. There were links. John was there. All of a sudden, Knowledge Source, and I'm exposed to this world of ILRE Real Estate, Knowledge Source, and everything in between.
Yeah, I got to say, it's interesting how there's this coincidental thing that happened between you and your partner at the same time, wasn't it? Yes. So he was listening to Rich Dad, Poor Dad in the car. You were meeting the Rich Dad, Poor Dad as a stranger in a park.
Yes. And
that's pretty synchronistic, isn't it?
It is synchronistic. Now that I look at it, absolutely. And the fact that he was talking about structures, though, Michael, how to structure, why to structure, why it's important to structure, and also talking about what made you buy a PPR, and just everything. It was just amazing. There's not enough time in the day right now to talk through what we discussed. Honestly, but it was as though he had done the I Love Real Estate training.
Wow. Fascinating. Okay, so Allie, what happened then? So you kind of what did you do once you've met a rich dad and in the park? Your whole viewpoint has shifted, and you were sent a number of links. Then what happened then?
Okay, so I don't usually tap on links because I'm not that trusting, but I just was drawn to the Knowledge Source link, and I thought, this person has been kind enough to share this information, so the information must be reputable, so I'm going to look into it. So I ended up doing a Knowledge Source training, which was a 3-day property seminar with some I Love Real Estate students. So I went along to that, and I worked out that I wanted to explore property development. While I was at the seminar, everybody was asking me what my background in property was. And I said, I don't have any. And they said, oh, what training have you done? And I said, oh, this is my first lot of training. But everybody's talking about this woman called, I didn't know how to say it at the time, but Dymphna. And I was saying, who is this woman? And I went up to somebody and I said, who is this lady that everyone's talking about, this Dymphna? And everybody looked at me like I had three heads, saying, you don't know who Dymphna is? How did you get here? Everybody knows who Dymphna is. If you're in real estate, you know who Dymphna is. And then from that point, Michael, I thought I need to explore more. Who is this Dymphna woman, and who is I Love Real Estate?
Wow. I don't know about anyone else, but this is probably a very different way of you coming into the community. It's utterly unique. I haven't heard of anything that kind of comes as close as this.
I know it's but I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for it. So I usually people had trained with I Love Real Estate in Dymphna first.
Yep.
And explored other areas. I'd gone through the back door. I don't know how, but I did. And then I thought, I'm going to do a U-turn and I'm going to go back into I Love Real Estate. So you went along to an event, did you? Yes. Yep. Went along to the one-day event.
Yep.
And I was impressed by the presentation. I was impressed by the content, but more than anything, Michael, it was the testimonials that really brought it home. And I said to myself, unless they're paying these people loads of money and they're really good actors, I think this might have some substance to it. And I'm gonna invest in it. And we didn't really have the money to invest, Michael, but it just felt something was saying to me, I've met the man in the park, the Rich Dad, Poor Dad book, I've got to do this. So
there's some very unusual lining up and of things happening in your universe, Allie. Wow.
Yeah.
So so you came to the event, and then did you join up straight away?
Yes, I did, and I'm not I'm usually somebody who will take action. My husband will usually step back a little bit because I dragged my husband along, and he's always a skeptic. But he said, go for it, babe, because he was also, I guess, comforted in what he had seen. And he said, yeah, I'll support you in whatever you choose to do. So we skipped Ultimate and went straight into Quantum.
Dive straight in. Okay, cool. So for those of you who do not know, and this was when we were running a live event as well, live in-person event, obviously pre-COVID, that the Ultimate is offered at that event, and also the Quantum was offered as well previously. And this is what you did. You Ultimate was offered at lunchtime, and the Quantum was at the end of the day. So you're like, Ultimate, and then just dive straight into Quantum. Yeah.
Yes. Let's go all in.
All in. You're all in. Okay, cool. Well, you've got a really interesting kind of insight into this is what you want from your very interesting journey. So you joined up. What happened then? Did you go to an event, or because previously we used to give out big boxes of books and packages? You didn't get that. Everything was online, because this was back. When was this? When you first joined up?
2020.
Okay, so it's only like a couple of years ago.
Yeah, February 2020. I joined.
Yep. And then what did you do?
And then I went onto the website, and you do the introduction, Michael.
The Get Started Now.
Yes, the Get Started Now.
Get Started Now program. Yep.
Yes, and I'm so grateful for the Get Started Now, because if I had have opened that website up and seen everything that I had seen, I would have just been more overwhelmed than what I was at the beginning. But I just sat there and I looked at the Get Started Now. I printed it out, put it up on my wall, and just started module by module, and gave myself the satisfaction of achieving by just ticking each little box. And so I just
Allie, you're the perfect student.
I am.
Like, we have the Get Started Now program, and then there is actually a little tick box that you tick off, and when you've done it, You know,
Yes, I
I don't know.
did.
I haven't heard of anyone else who's actually done it
I'm
like
sure
that.
I have because I had
Well,
to because everything needs to line up and I love that. So I think, if you are new to the community and you're overwhelmed, just get out the get started module and just start from the number one box and just tick it off and don't go past it. Just keep on doing.
yep. Oh, look, Iris, I've done it. Stuck on getting GVA software going through though. Okay, well done, Iris. And I'm sorry, I'm sure there's probably a whole lot of others that have done it. But it's nice to hear that you're going through and ticking the box. So awesome. Okay, great. So and obviously, for those of you who don't know as well, that Get Started program is just it's an entry point. It's to get you through the basics, to bring you up to speed, to cover all the groundwork essentially. So, yep, good. So, then what happened then? You're kind of going through the Get Started Now program. You've gone through, you've done the tick boxes.
Yes, I became I'd never attended any Zoom or education or anything because I just didn't think I needed it, nor was I interested. And then I was introduced to the ILRE Real Estate Zoom world. And then for the next, what was it? February, I joined. So February, March, April, May, June, July, August, I absorbed myself in every single bootcamp module, online event I could. So I became, what do they call you? Like an addicted Zoom person or something, where basically every weekend I was on a bootcamp Zoom. So that was my life.
You were just in front of a screen, absorbing, downloading,
and learning and loving it so much. And then I decided, through all of this wonderful, learnings, that I needed to put it into action. And there was just something just wasn't, and I thought, okay, I need to consider doing this platinum. So once again, we had to get a loan. We had to get a loan to invest in this. And once again, we had a chat and I thought, okay, yes, let's do it. Let's invest. Let's go all in. Let's eat baked beans if we have to for the next little while. And I joined Platinum in August 2020.
Awesome. So started in February, got into the materials, got through the Get Started Now program, went to all of the boot camps, and then by August, you're like, got to take action. And so you had to take a loan to join Platinum.
Yes, I did.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're committed then. By then, you're clearly the suspicion you came in about going, oh, are those actors getting paid really well? You've addressed that kind of concern about being suspicious, have you?
Yes. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm sort of investing in my education for the first time in my life. I've never had to pay for my education before, right?
Yeah,
so
sure.
yeah, so now I'm committed, and there were concerned people around me just sort of saying, oh, watch out, babe, there's so many scams out there. And I was just like, no, I could feel it. It was the right thing to do. So I joined Platinum in August.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. So getting into Platinum, gone through the material, then what happened? Because you got into a deal, didn't you?
Yes, I did get into a deal. That was my goal. I set a goal for myself to get into a deal by the end of the year. So what are we in? August, September, October, November. I've got 4 months. So I work with my coach, which is Greg Miller. Hi, Greg. And I worked with my coach, and by December 2020, I had signed. I'd done some feasibilities. I'd done some feasibilities. Nothing stacked up, and then one stacked up. And I said to Greg, I said, this is stacking up. And he's like, good, go for it. So I signed a contract, put down a small deposit in December 2020 for my first deal. And I had my 3 strategies. And the first one was a duplex build. And that's what I had on the cards. So I was ready to go into my first deal in December.
Awesome. So you've dived in February, got through the materials, August into Platinum, and then December, deal.
Oh, but let's go just one step back, because I do have to say this, Michael. One step back is that when I joined, my husband really wanted me to open our downstairs room for Airbnb. And I said, no, 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 no. And he said, why don't you ask your coach and see what he thinks? Because, you know, we're building wealth. I mentioned it to Greg, and Greg said, so when are you going to open up your Airbnb? And I said, in a month. And he said, good, we'll talk in a month. And I did that, Michael, because I was being held accountable by my coach to get it done. My husband was very grateful, and we made $12,000 in our first year of Airbnb.
Awesome, awesome. And now look, I've got to mention here, if you don't know anything about the Platinum program, it's about accountability. And this is a classic example of it, isn't it? You know, you're held accountable. It's not a heavy thing, but it's something that you agree to, and someone's there to come back to you to say, hey, okay, great, go out there and do it. See you in a month's time and get it done. Well done.
Yes.
Well done.
And now it's just part of our life, and you know, we're just we're earning money on a space that was vacant.
Oh, awesome, awesome. And so did you start that before your 12 months? Did you have the Airbnb running before February 2021? When did you start?
Yes, we started in February 2021. Like, just, you know, got it ready and everything. Oh, wow. No, actually, no. August I started. So October, I think I had my first. I was talking to Greg in October, because I started in August, so I had a month. So I was talking to Greg in October, and I was opening the doors. That's right, because I was just really nervous.
So it's only 8 or 9 months after you started that you had your Airbnb up and running?
No, it was the month after I joined Platinum.
Oh, no, I'm saying from February. So it's a month. Sorry. So the month. Okay, so okay, we'll work out. Anyway, it's in a short period of time.
Yes.
So a month after you've joined Platinum, that's it. Your Airbnb is up and running, and it's bringing in positive cash flow of $12K.
Yeah.
$1,000 a month.
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, good. So now tell us about this deal. You got this other deal of land, yeah?
Yeah. So we worked through. I worked through with my coach, and I ended up getting a turnkey builder to do this build through me. So I purchased the land for $285,000 in December 2020.
Yep.
And it was supposed to register in January, February the following year, and we were going to be out of the deal with a profit, by June, July 2021. But unfortunately, things change, and the land didn't register, and it was pushed back from February to March, April. Then it was pushed out from March, April to June, July. And then it was pushed out from June, July, and we did not register until December 2021.
Almost a year. Wow. Now I want to highlight here, and I want to kind of just find out from you what you're running into problems for a year with this deal that you've got. You've done the FISO. Obviously, you're working with your Platinum coach. How are you dealing with the delays? Like, who are you leaning on? And because I've got a feeling, and I want to just find out if, because you had Platinum there and you had Greg to help you, that chances are, if you didn't, it'd be a difficult 12 months for you to go through. Whereas, is that the case? I just wanted to.
Absolutely. I mean, through the process of the delays, the delays with the registration, the increase in building costs because we're going into COVID as well. What does this mean? Greg was there every step of the way, and we just nutted things out. And through the process, I was kept really calm, and everybody around me, when I say everybody, I mean my friends and my family, was doom and gloom, but you know, because of this network and understanding, you know, just what happens, what can happen, how to pivot, go into solution mode rather than panic mode. It was just part of the process, and what you learn through that process of, you know, obstacles coming in every direction. Everything's a learning opportunity. And that's something that you also get out of Platinum as well, is that you learn that, you know, obstacles become opportunities, and then you work through the opportunities with solutions. And yeah, no, if my husband even said to me, you know, thank goodness for Platinum, because if it wasn't for that support, you know, yeah, we don't know, we wouldn't have handled it as well as we did.
And I've got to say as well, I don't know if anyone else is kind of picking this up, but you're really sounding calm and confident about a deal that is not kind of going well at that point. I know it's kind of, we're going to explain exactly what happened as well, but you've really approached it really quite well, and you can hear the confidence in your voice when you talk about it as well. That it's just, oh, we just did this, and we just kept in contact with Greg, and it just flowed. There doesn't seem to be any stress when you're talking about it as well.
No, not, and strangely enough for me, because I have been prone to, you know, sort of, but like, yeah, sort of like, oh my goodness, you know, the world's falling down around me. But no, it was just like, okay, this has happened, so what do we do next? This has happened. And, you know, the coach is, well, my coach is not there to tell me what to do. He's there as a sounding board. So, you know, through the training, and the modules and everything, you kind of learn to expand your mind and look at it, and then you just bounce your ideas off. And the coach, you know, there was a couple of things that he was just like, oh, have you thought that through? And I'm like, not enough. I'll go back to it. You know, I'll go back to it. So yeah, it accountability once again. It's not about giving you the answers. It's about guiding you to find the answers yourself, so that you can come back and go, okay, because he's not necessarily going to be there to hold my hand all the time. So that's one thing I've enjoyed, is that through the coaching process, it's been all about, you know, which I love, is just that it's about, I've got to pretend that Greg is not there, right? So, you know, he has guided me so that when he's not there, I'm going to be able to work through these obstacles myself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it sounds like the mentoring is a way of empowering you to be able to act on your own confidently, knowing exactly what you need to from the viewpoint of Platinum. And he's nudging you and going, hey, check out this, check out that, at the right times. Yeah.
Correct. And on a couple of occasions, I just went, you know what? I'm not even gonna run it past Greg. I'm just gonna do it. And then the next coaching call, I did it, and he's like, fantastic, you did it.
Awesome.
And yeah, so kudos
Love
to
it.
me.
Absolutely. Kudos to you indeed. Yeah. Awesome. Love it. And look, the other thing as well, that I really want to kind of like, you know, shine a spotlight on is being within the community, how that can be so supportive, especially when those around you and just life in general, there's so much negativity. There's so much doom and gloom. There's so much kind of like, you know, oh, it's not going to work and all those types of things. But yet within this community, and I know that this is something that comes from the top down, from Dymphna down, it's like we've got to have a viewpoint of focusing on success, you know, focusing on solving the problem, any problems that come up, you know, and really, and focusing on supporting each other as well as much as possible. So, classic example, Allie, you're just giving that classic example. So awesome. Now, Iris is asking, how many coaching calls per year? This is within Platinum.
Well, there's a minimum of 12, but there's really no limitation, because when, you know, you have your scheduled 12, you know, one per month, but in between that, there was one night that Greg was in transit somewhere, and he was on the phone to me for like, I think we were on the phone for 2 hours while he was driving on a Friday night. You know, and I don't know if his family was in the car. It would have been pretty boring if it was, but he coached me through a scenario. And so he's there when, you know, just text, I email, and sometimes you think you need them, but then you send an email, you talk out loud, and it's really just that sounding board once again. So there's never been a time that I've, I guess they're there when you need them, right? They're there when you need them.
Absolutely. And you've got your regular coaching calls, boom, 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 all throughout there. And you've got your monthly meetings, catching up on a regular basis, got your national conferences that you're meeting up 3 times a year. So it's very well kind of designed. It's very well organized.
Yes. And you've got your buddies, your monthly buddies, which are gold as well, because, you can bounce off your, the network, which is what they're there for.
Yep. Fantastic. Awesome. Hey, Allie, how's this deal going? So this deal is kind of like, let's get back to the deal, shall we?
Yes. Let's get back to the deal. Yes, let's get back to the deal. So, so I purchased the deal in, as I said, the land for 285 in 2020. There's been delays through the process. We had, at the beginning, we had the contract all in place. The bank was happy to lend us money, and so the deal was stacking up. The market is solid, and then we had another spanner in the works, which was because it took so long to register. And this is all learnings, right? I have no idea about land registering or how long it's going to take or what happens if it doesn't happen. And so what happens is the land didn't register during that process, which was a new learning for me. Our construction contract with the bank had expired. And they don't just go, oh, okay, Allie, we'll just renew that. No, you have to go through the whole process again. And through the process, our financial situation had changed, Michael. And my husband had been given the opportunity to work from home, which is fabulous for us as a family. But due to the change in finances, we were no longer eligible for the construction loan. So my dream of building my first duplex with my first project was now different. And so, without the platinum environment or the coaching, I probably would have gone, because that's what most people do. But I just, I spoke to Greg and we put our solution hats on, and we decided, okay, so what do we do here? Let's pivot, right? You haven't got the finance, so what are we going to do? So I went through the options of doing a JV with the builder, finding a cash partner in the network, or selling the land. So those were the three feasibilities that I needed to work through, and that's what I did. And through the whole process, I just had to keep on coming back to the figures. And we learned that through all of our training. It's all about the figures. Remove your emotion and just look at look at your figures, and your feasibilities are so important. And that's probably one thing that I'm going to say here is your feasibility. Just, and don't make it try and work to fit your situation. The FISO is the FISO, and whatever comes out of that FISO is what you need to be guided by. And that's what guided me.
Fantastic. And so you had your 3 choices, and you made a choice, didn't you?
I did make a choice. So I've gone from, what is it called? I don't know, flip-flopped. I went from building it myself with finance. And then I went, let's do it with a JV with the builder. Let's do that. But I have to wait for 9 to 12 months to do that, right? Another 9 to 12 months. So it's almost 2 years to build a duplex, when normally it should take 6 months, right? Or sell the land. Now, I didn't want to do that, but the figures said to me, sell the land. So that's what I've done.
Interesting. You didn't want to do it, but you're following the feasibility. You're following the numbers.
I'm following my coaching. I'm following my education. I'm following the FISO, which is what we, learn through the process. And Dymphna always says, if you follow the process, you will get the results that you want. And that's always sticking in my mind. Dymphna, you will follow the process. Follow the process.
This is a crucial point, because you've gone against your heart. You want to keep it. You're emotionally attached. You want to build your own home, and you're going, can't do it because the figures don't stack up.
Yes, and I'm also in the, I'm not in cash flow at the moment. So my dream of, I want to hold one and sell one, you know, I want to hold one and sell one because ego, that's so good to do. But the figures don't support that. And I am in chunk deal. Chunk deal. So that's where I've got to concentrate,
Yep.
stay focused. Chunk deal, Allie. Chunk deal to move on to the next build project.
Okay. So how's the chunk going? How's
the chunk deal going? So I'm happy to report that after the expenses, so the expenses being setting up the structure, which is another thing that we talk about. So I set up the structure, you know, stamp duty, all the legals and everything, and the gross profit is $265,000. So I purchased the land for $285,000, just high level, purchased the land for $285,000 and sold it for $550,000.
Awesome. Awesome. And how long did you have it for?
I held the land for 12 months, but by choice, because once again, I was guided with my wisdom accounting. I sound like an advert, but anyway, wisdom accounting guided me, you know, and they guided me to hold the land so that I can achieve 50% capital gains tax.
Yep.
Right? Because I probably wouldn't have done that if I didn't have the experts again. You're 18, building your 18. I would have just gone, oh, sell the land, yep, done. And then I would have been copped with 100% CGT.
CGT, yeah,
So,
wow.
Once again, 18 experts, knowledge have saved me, you know that. And I'm going to be walking away with a $200,000 net profit, right? I've paid for my platinum education, second 2 years worth of platinum education.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have enough money to go into my next build.
Awesome. How cool is that, hey? Awesome. So you're just a little bit over 2 years being within the community to start with, because it was February 2020. So it's about, you know, going on 2.5 years you've been in the community. Yeah. You've come away with a profit of 200 grand, and you've also got a cash flow of 12,000 per annum coming in from Airbnb so far.
Yeah, so far. Plus, I also did some paid work for some I did some feasibility work. So that gave me a little bit of like a $5,000 profit for doing 3 feasibilities for someone. And I also assisted somebody in buying an investment property. And and through that as well, I've just grown, is the word exponentially, or whatever that word is.
Exponential. That one.
As a human being, and just gained so much, just for myself, emotionally, physically, spiritually, just expanded my mind. And now I keep on saying to Glenn, before, I never really thought that we would be able to live a life of financial freedom. I thought it was just a buzzword. But the way that, the education, follow the process, we can see it. So now, debt used to be like so scary to me, but now debt is just an opportunity to, it's just like a stepping stone. And I'm not afraid anymore of, I'm not afraid of money. I'm not afraid of wealth. My viewpoint about, being wealthy or earning money or, paying tax or anything like that, I'm like, I'm paying $50,000 worth of tax. Cool. That means we're making money.
Awesome. Allie, that is so cool. That's so cool to hear that. And look, the other thing that we probably should mention is that during that time where you couldn't do anything, you then refocused on personal development too, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I did, I did, as I mentioned, I did sort of assist people in looking at properties, and things like that. And with Greg's guidance, I did make, you know, that money on the feasibilities. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought at the time, I was just like, limiting beliefs, why would somebody pay me to put together a couple of feasos? And he said, you know, you've got value in your education. And, you know, when I went through that, I was just like, damn right, yes, we are, you know. So, but yes, I focused on personal development, and that is something I've never looked at before. And that's something that the, you know, and this is what I love about the I Love Real Estate community, is that it's not all about the property. It's like a holistic, you know, a holistic view at everything, because property is just one part. If your mindset is not, you know, if you don't have the right mindset, then, you know, everything, I would say, can be a lot more challenging.
Absolutely, absolutely. And for those of you who haven't as yet, I believe we should have the Real Estate Millionaire Within registration coming out very, very soon. I know that behind the scenes we've been working on that, so that should be coming out very soon. That will be up in Brisbane, but you need
and I
to.
loved that.
Yeah.
That's one of my. I mean, that was one of my favorite boot camps, and that truly opened my eyes to personal development, and I guess that also made my heart quite. Just say it was nice, because it just made me feel like the community is there to support us, not just through property, but just developing us as people, and then being able to just, you know, yeah, I loved it. And I just thought, oh my goodness, how can Dymphna be up on stage talking about what she's talking about, and everybody's just sitting there listening, and just, you know, it's just, yeah, she's like, it's amazing. I love it. So Millionaire Within, that I am here to say, do it. Best decision.
Absolutely. And for those of you who don't know, the Real Estate Millionaire Within, it's very much a mindset event. All about the mindset, all about what goes on between here in your mind, and also shifts your viewpoint a little bit, and really brings you to a core of what you're doing and why you're doing it as well. So yeah, anyway, that's coming up. That's actually coming up in the first couple of days of July. Once a year, recordings are always on the members only website. So Allie, I've got a question here, which I always like to ask about, you know, is there a problem that you've had difficulty overcoming? But I think you've kind of almost mentioned that, because that deal was actually kind of a problem. Is there anything else that you wanted to add in regards to that?
Look, I think anything that could have happened in this deal happened, i.e., you know, the delayed registration, how to resolve that, the increase in building costs, how to negotiate those, you know, increases, you know, how to go through the process of potentially going into a JV with a builder, you know, potentially talking to students about, you know, becoming cash partners, talking to the banks about, you know, just that whole process of going through finance, which is obviously a big part of, you know, the property journey. So yeah, I mean, I think I overcame so many of the obstacles that, yeah, anything that existed, I think we dealt with in my duplex build. So nothing else, I don't think.
Cool. Now, just to let you know, Greg has been tuning in via Facebook. He said, "Yippee, go Allie."
Thanks, Greg.
And also Nicole Beers there. Yay, Allie, woohoo, from Nicole as well.
Thanks, it's been Nicole, because, you know, I've been doing the, we've been fortunate enough to be able to do the Money Mind Mastery, which is through Platinum, and I think it's also through I Love, like the Quantum and Ultimate, right?
It's both, yeah. So Nicole does a Money Mind Mastery for Platinums, but she also does one for the Ultimate as well. So two different versions. It can be a little bit confusing because they're called the same. I think we're changed. I think the name is a little bit different now, but it is the Money Mind Mastery with Nicole. So
Yeah, so that's an amazing addition to, you know, the community that again just actually opened my world to another avenue of my life, which was, you know, the life coaching. So I did about a bit of life coaching along the way as well.
awesome, awesome. And I think Nicole also did a Success Principles event right at the beginning of the year as well, and then ran a 12-week transformation. So she's doing quite a few, all in that area as well of personal development. So yeah, cool. Allie, can you tell us a little bit about how you approach joint ventures now? Because that's what you were looking at, certainly from a feasibility side of things. How do you approach JVs? And the reason why I'm asking, and I always kind of like to ask this question, because Dymphna's done a video and she said when you get into joint ventures, you've got to do your due diligence. Do your due diligence on the deal yourself. Don't leave it up to somebody else, but also do your due diligence on the person that you're entering into the joint venture with. So is that something that you do as well, or how do you approach joint ventures?
Look, you know, the deal that just keeps on giving. You know, originally it was a deal that I was supposed to do on my own, so there was no need for a joint venture. But then when we had to go into solution mode, I had to start talking to potential JVs. So through that process, you know, there is a JV questionnaire that's available on the website, which is very helpful. But how do I approach that? I guess, you know, just it's all about communication and truly understanding, you know, whether or not you're aligned, because I did connect with a couple of people and we were looking for different things. Yes, so we didn't have the same strategies, and that's always a good thing to start off with, is being clear about your strategy, because that it quickly not eliminates, but it quickly determines to you whether or not you're going to be able to go into a joint venture with someone. You know, because if you're not aligned, or maybe they don't want to work in your state, very quickly you can just say fantastic. You know, you keep contact with, you know, with opportunities for joint venture partners, but then you can quickly move on to the next stage. And yeah, so I guess I've also you know, had the opportunity to work with a builder for the JV through my duplex opportunity. So that's something I'm going to be tapping into in the future, is doing a JV with my builder. And I'm in discussions at the moment with a couple of students to move forward. So I'll be the cash partner because I'll have a little bit of profit towards the deal, and they are going to, you know, be serviceability partners.
Awesome. Very cool, very cool. Now there was a question here from Iris. With the block of land that you sold, she was asking, could you have subdivided it?
I would have strated.
Okay,
you know, yeah. So so the intent was to strata and then I was going to sell both. Yeah. Separately. But a lot of people will also, you know, because I'm in chunk money, I had to strata. But if you were in cash flow, then you would just keep it, not strata it, right? Reduce the cost, not strata it, and then just rent it out. And you would have had a very attractive cash flow positive property.
And now, for those of you listening, do you really hear the confidence that Allie knows her numbers?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, she knows her numbers. And why does she know her numbers? Because she's doing those feasibilities.
Yeah, it's actually I'm pretty stoked actually that I know my numbers right down to the 11 cents of profit.
11 cents. Okay.
Profit that I have.
Yeah.
But no, feasibility is I love it. And I love the fact that, you know, when you do the feasibility, you can just the deals. You can just go, okay, yep, that works. No, it doesn't. Yep, that works. No, it doesn't. And it just, you're not wasting time trying to make things work. So I love my feasibility.
Awesome. Can you give us a little bit of an insight into how long it took you to get comfortable with feasos? Like, did you have to do a lot? Because I think that there's probably a couple of people who are probably thinking, I'm not really good with numbers, not really good with spreadsheets, or a little bit that same sense of overwhelm when people first join the community. That also a bit of apprehension and overwhelm before doing feasos. How long did it take you to get kind of comfortable?
Look, I'm not really a numbers person in the sense, well, let me rephrase that. I wasn't a numbers person prior to doing feasibilities, but I became, I guess, once again, just through, like, we have tools as well. So I did use the John Bones feasibility tool.
Yep.
And that worked for me. It looks a bit overwhelming when you first go into it because there's a lot of information. But what I loved about that tool is that, I was able to use the little, I don't know what it's called, but you shift things up and down. So I was able to change the interest rates. What is my deal? How does my deal stack up if the interest rates go up? And I just moved the little lever and it still works. What happens if my build cost goes up? What happens if I sell the property? And so I was able to manipulate the figures. And so for me, that was really helpful because I just made sure that my deals stacked up regardless of what was happening in the marketplace. So was I comfortable with feasos? Not really, but I became comfortable. And once again, Greg and I spent one of our coaching sessions just going through the feasibility and understanding it. And that gave me the confidence of knowing how it worked. And, the one thing I do enjoy about the coaching as well is that I don't necessarily learn something straight up. It takes me a little bit of time. I don't consider myself to be an academic, though maybe now when it comes to feasibilities, I might go. No, I'm just joking. But through the coaching, there was times, and I'm sure Greg would agree, so I don't get that. I don't understand that. Can you talk me through it? And he talked me through it until I got it and until I understood. And that's another thing. In this community, you can ask a question 10,000 times over, and you can listen to it 10,000 different ways, and somebody will just say something and it will drop. So feasos, look, I'd have to say in the first couple of months of being in platinum, I did maybe 7, pretty intense because I was doing duplex builds, right? Feasibilities. And yeah, so it took me a couple of months just to, navigate myself around and become more comfortable, with the process. So and now that I've gained a lot of confidence since my feeso right from the beginning has been, I guess, it speaks for itself. That was, I'm happy with my result, and that was just through having the feeso, and it's been my Bible.
Got to say that few months getting good with feasos has clearly paid off. Yes. Awesome. Absolutely. Awesome. Yeah. Allie, thank you so much for sharing. Now, I just wanted to kind of like go on to a kind of a different point of view, and that is that is your life different now?
Is my life different now? Yes, Michael, it is different.
Yeah.
It's very different.
How is it different?
Oh my goodness, how is it different? I don't know where to begin. First of all, I used to think that, people who did personal development and did, went into these, what is it called, these boot camps and did things with other people and chanted and, all this sort of stuff. I used to think who are they? Like, what, I don't need to do that. Like, what is that? Now I am one of those chanting people who do the boot camps. And, I'm so grateful for the network. I've made some great connections, but I've been able to really, truly evaluate. And I know it's going to sound a little bit woo-woo, but, it makes me even teary almost I've evolved so much as a person, as a human being, as a wife, as a mother. I've been able to I'm in a space now, Michael, where I feel like I can do this. Like I am, I'm capable, I'm learning every day. And that's probably the biggest thing, is that I've gone from somebody, Michael, who never read a book. I never read a book. No, I know, right? For a lot of people, that might be really, as an adult, I never read a book. And now I have so many books, I have to get a bookshelf. And the introduction of reading was through the network, right? From getting a couple of books from Dymphna at the beginning, and then just, people talking about, what books they've read. And now I love reading books. And I never really watch the news, but I don't watch the news. Like TV is almost like a foreign object to me now, because I just want to be soaking up anything to do with property, to do with personal development, to do with, and just so much when it comes to, who am I now? What difference? I could go on and on and on and on, but, I feel like I belong somewhere. I feel like there's like-minded people. I always think that I was, I always had lots of friends and stuff, but just I never felt like I belonged, if that makes sense. But now this environment, it's full of people who are like-minded, who, like geeking out, and doing all of this cool stuff. So yeah, I just this is me, right? This is the new me. And my husband's recognized it, my children recognize it. And the cutest thing, I have to say this, is that they'll hear Dymphna's voice, or they'll hear Greg's voice, or they'll and they're just like, oh, are you watching Dymphna? And so they they was starting to come in, and they knew her voice, and it's part of my family now, property. And even my children, my son, he has a goal and he wants to drive a McLaren. And, before I would have been maybe, oh, baby, that's such a nice dream. But now it's just like, okay, sweetheart, well, how are you going to get that McLaren? What are the steps you're going to take to get there? That's still part of being in this community where the sky is the limit, just so many aha moments have come from being in this community, and just knowing, humans are so limitless, but we don't know it. And before I was probably like this. Now I'm just like, okay, what's next? What do I want to do? Where do I, how am I going to get there? What am I going to do to get there? So yeah, hopefully that explains just a little bit of what's different.
Absolutely. Awesome. Yeah, cool. Thank you so much for the insight. I've just got one last kind of question for you, Allie, because we're right on the hour as well. What would you tell other students, other ILRE real estate students, if someone's just joined up, they're kind of brand new, and they're like, oh, I'm a little bit overwhelmed. What do I do? What have I got myself into? Probably a little bit skeptical as well, of what's going on. What would your piece of advice, words of wisdom be?
Look, first of all, reach out. Reach out to me, reach out to someone in the community, because there's always someone who is right where you are, and I think I was probably a little bit skeptical at the beginning to reach out to people, because I just thought, like they're doing it, and they're not going to want to talk to me. But I tell you what, everybody wants to talk to you. Everybody wants to take you along the journey of success with, you know, everybody is there for you. So just follow the process, right? Do that, you know, get started. But put yourself out there, reach out to people, talk to people, you know, anybody who wants to reach out to me, do so. I'm happy to answer any, you know, more questions, but there's so many of us who are, you know, in exactly the place where everybody is, you know, and whether it be mindset, whether it be, you know, getting into the next deal, JV, whatever, there's somebody who has experienced or going through the same experience and, you know, just willing to help you. I think that's the biggest thing, is just don't be afraid to reach out. You've come this far, you know, so just keep on moving forward. And one of the things that I've learned from the community is just, well, my coach, it's just like, you know, that next little step, just, you know, each step takes you closer to where you want to be, wherever that is. And, you know, it's, yeah, just use this community for what it is, right? Like that. And I'm just starting to really click into people a little bit more, because I've got that confidence that everyone's here for the same reason, which is just to, you know, fulfill desires, dreams, whatever you want, you know, have community. We're community driven species. So, you know, just, yeah, just thrive with the community, you know, thrive together. We're here. That's what we're here for. And yeah, I just reach out and talk to people.
Beautiful. Allie, thank you. Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed it. Have you had fun as well?
Yes, I have had fun.
Good.
I'm glad I could help you out, Michael.
Well, you're not just helping me, you're helping out everyone else that's listening in as well. And I hope everyone else is joining it as well. There's a couple of comments that have come up as well onto Facebook. There's a woohoo. Manos, Allie, you are so inspiring. Tabitha, I'll have to listen to this when I get home. So glad I have met you. That's Tabitha. So yeah, there's a whole lot of kind of comments there, and Nicole and Greg have commented there as well. So so thank you. And I think it's 1 o'clock. We've got to go back to, I don't know, life, don't we?
Well, as the life of a successful property developer, because that's what I am, I'm about to go and have lunch on a Friday afternoon now.
Awesome. Awesome.
Living the life we design, right?
Absolutely. Do that. Fantastic. Allie, thank you so much. We're going to wrap it up here. Have a fantastic Friday afternoon. For those of you who've missed it, it is here. This recording is up onto the Facebook group. It'll be under the featured items, and we record them and put up onto the members only website as well. So once again, thank you so much, Allie. Thank you everyone for joining us in. And Allie, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
See everyone later. Okay, we'll end off there. Bye now. Bye.